You would never go to a restaurant 3 straight times, get bad service, have spotty food, and go, that's a well-run restaurant. You would never go to a car dealership and buy 3 straight cars and they're lemons and think that is really a well-run car dealership. But there's a weird thing about sports and loyalty, and you put the city's name on the uniform. And let's be honest about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we sort of predicted this, didn't we? They couldn't handle a little success. We've all had the loser brother-in-law, coworker, family member. They make a little lettuce job promotion. 2 years later, they're a bigger mess than they've ever been. A lot of lottery winners end up selling off the timeshares and jet skis now, don't they? Philadelphia is now just Dallas, but has worse weather. They're just loud. This morning I was doing a loud meter in the NFL for our TV audience, and there is a striking similarity between the louder the teams, the more they underachieve. Jets, Cowboys, Browns, Eagles. Yes, the Steelers have been loud for several years, got quieter this year, but they've underachieved. And the quietest teams in the league, what a shock. Buffalo, Baltimore, for most of the New England dynasty, for the record. You didn't hear a lot of stories breaking. It was the very end when it unraveled that you did. For all the stars Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, Gronk and Brady, Antonio Brown, they've got all Mike Evans, all sorts of stars. The only one we ever hear of is Bruce Arians, talks about once every 2 weeks, and we have to comment on it. They're pretty quiet. Let's just move the Philadelphia Eagles from well-run operation to loud operation. Here's the latest story. Multiple players were shocked and outraged that Doug Pederson, the coach, benched Jalen Hurts in the middle of a competitive game. One player, offensive starter Jason Kelce, questioned the coach directly on the stunning decision. According to this story, the owner or the GM, Howie Roseman, may have ordered the benching of Jalen Hurts to get somebody involved from the bench to tank and get a better draft spot. God, this is just the classic. They had a little success and they couldn't handle it. Everybody got a book deal, a car dealership deal. Everybody got a movie role. Everybody was at the parade, drank a little too much, hung over for the last 3 years. Because this is what Philadelphia is. It's funny, New England had a dynasty for 20 years, and they were adults the whole time. Philadelphia won a Super Bowl. They started lecturing everybody on how to win. Remember that? You got to have fun in this league. Not really. You got to win in this league. That's what New England did for 20 years. You did 1 year. Since the Super Bowl, here's what Philadelphia is. A losing team. 22 wins, 25 losses, and a tie. That's in a bad division. That's not in the NFC West or the AFC South with all those quarterbacks. That's in a division where Washington and the Giants and Dallas have had chaos. Just say this out loud. Last 3 years, losing team, lot of noise, quarterback controversy, and no cap space next year. Sound like a good restaurant? If I said bad menu, terrible service, lot of complaints with the health board, sound like a well-run restaurant? If I said bad service department, lots of lemons, weak sales staff, sound like a good car dealership? Philadelphia's Dallas with worse weather. That's what they've become. Cap space issues. I mean, the last time they drafted a Pro Bowler was Carson Wentz, and now he doesn't like the organization. What a mess. Doug Pederson taking his future star quarterback, Jalen Hurts, pulling him out of a winnable game so that he can get a third-stringer reps. By the way, I heard this yesterday on Sports Talk Radio. My ears were bleeding. Some guy called a Sports Talk Radio station. You know, they put in Nate Sudfeld to just get a spark. What? He'd been at practice for 3 years. If you're an NFL head coach, practice lets you know who can play, not just games. If you thought Nate Sudfeld was going to give you some dynamic athletic spark over Jalen Hurts, you should be fired for that. For that alone, Philadelphia. All right, so, Warren Buffett's a legendary stock picker in America. He's one of the most successful. And his whole theory is buy value. When stuff's beaten down and everybody no longer wants it, that's when you go in and buy it. It works that way in real estate. A lot of the richest people, recessions are garage sales. for the rich and well-prepared. Stuff gets beaten down, loses its value, but it's still at its core principle very solid. That's when you buy it. So Jason Garrett's interviewing for the Chargers job, and I can just hear it today. I went on Twitter for 5 minutes. Oh, my God. And a bunch of know-nothings on Twitter were telling you how bad Jason Garrett was. Let me just throw this at you. Jason Garrett's winning percentage is 56% in the NFL. Bill Parcells is 57%. And Jason Garrett did it with a meddling owner and his two quarterbacks. One was undrafted and one went in the fourth round. Sound like a guy who can't coach? A Princeton grad from the Ivy League, a former NFL quarterback with 3 division titles, with an undrafted quarterback, a fourth-round quarterback, and a meddling owner. What Jason Garrett needs is a new PR person. He doesn't need to be a better coach. Here's Jason Garrett. Here's Jason Garrett's offensive ranks as coach of the Dallas Cowboys. 9 years. Points per game, 6th. Yards per game, 6th. Passer rating, 6th. Yards per play, 2nd. You're telling me that guy can't coach? By the way, he had constant drama. Jerry drama. Dez drama. Zeke drama. I mean, it's a turnstile of outspoken players, holdouts. First of all, it's hard to coach the Dallas Cowboys. Texas is a state that loves football, has unrealistic expectations, and there's a lot of money and egos. It's why the Texas Longhorns and the Dallas Cowboys always seem to be changing coaches. They look like the world's best jobs, but with the Longhorns and with the Cowboys in this glamorous, well-heeled state, it's very attractive, right? You fly into Dallas, you see 9 high school football stadiums. They look like colleges. Football's big. There's expectations. There's lots of ego. There's lots of money. The Longhorns can never quite get the program right. There's a reason. Unrealistic expectations. They just fired a coach who had the same record as Dabo Swinney 4 years at Houston, or 4 years at Clemson. First 4 years at Clemson, first 4 years at Texas. Dabo and Tom Herman, same record. The difference is Tom Herman, 4-0 in bowls, Dabo 2-2. The Cowboys are hard to coach. They've had the first 33 years of their existence, they had 2 coaches, Jimmy Johnson and Tom Landry. And everybody's compared to those 2, and everybody in Dallas hates their coach, not named Tom Landry or Jimmy Johnson. They didn't even like Parcells, who's a top 5 coach in my lifetime. They don't have a real general manager. They don't have a real president. Jerry's the owner. Jerry's the GM. Jerry's the president. You think this is easy to coach? I'll say it again. Jason Garrett, look at his offensive numbers for the last 9 years. Now he gets Justin Herbert, a capable, real GM. The Spanos family are non-meddling owners. They don't spend the big money like Jerry, but they don't meddle. And for the record, I don't think it's outside of playing Mahomes a couple times a year, there's a lot of dysfunction in that organization. So this reminds me of Les Miles. Everybody bagged on Les Miles. So LSU fires Les Miles, who's winning 10.5 games a year because he can't beat Nick Saban. By the way, nobody in the SEC can beat Nick Saban. Maybe nobody in the country can beat Nick Saban except occasionally Clemson. So they fire him, and now they got Ed Orgeron. He won a national title and won 77% of his games. They fire him because he's a little quirky. Well, they hire Ed Orgeron, who's even quirkier, and he wins 76% of his games. And I predict he won't be there in a year. Like at some point, Les Miles and Jason Garrett just need better PR people. But they can both coach. You win 10 games a year in the SEC, you're a good coach. But everybody in the SEC can't beat Saban. Everybody's firing everybody. The history of LSU football, they win on average about 9 games. Les Miles won 10, won a national title, beat Saban a couple times, out the door. So I'm telling you, as a value stock, Jason Garrett with Justin Herbert, you don't have a lot of ego. They have a real GM, non-meddling owner, Justin Herbert, all sorts of stars. This idea that Jason Garrett can't coach is silly. I mean, say what you want, but his first year with Daniel Jones got better at the end of the year, and Daniel Jones is not great, but he got a lot better, stopped all the turnovers. It's crazy. Sometimes some of these coaches need better PR people. They're fine. There's just some like thing out there. Oh, they can't coach. Oh, they just this. The Rooneys with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin have had a lot of disappointing seasons together. A lot of drama and a lot of disappointing seasons, but they just don't fire them. I mean, let me ask you. You watched the Dallas Cowboys this year. First year without Jason Garrett. Did they look better coached? You tell me. Did they look better coached? Not the team I saw. That's not what I saw. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.